Hey guys, it's your girl FABFOLA, and I think I'm starting to get used to this. And before I get into what I'm going to talk about right now, I want you to please subscribe to my channel and put on your post notifications so you can know when I post these videos. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much. So, I know you're wondering what I'm going to get into this moment, and you know, I like to stay around relationships because I feel like that's the foundation for a lot of things. And that could be relationship topics related to romantic interests. That could be friendships. That could be family as well. And all other relationships that run the spectrum between. But right now, my topic for this moment is going to be signs that you've leveled down instead of leveled up. Signs that you leveled down instead of leveled up. And once again, this is just my opinion, you know, based on my personal experience. I'm not proclaiming that it's the best advice, but it might be of help to somebody. And so that's why I express myself and I speak openly about things I have been through, because maybe somebody else doesn't have to go through it. So this is coming from a woman who has been in a few relationships, including a marriage of 10 years. So yeah, obviously now I'm divorced, but I can speak from experience on a plethora of different topics related to relationships. So with that said, I'm going to get into with the first one. And that is signs that you leveled down instead of leveled up. Is one sign is you feeling deja vu. Deja vu, you know, that feeling that you've been in the same place, in the same zone. You've been in that scenario before, and the feeling is so real and uncanny that it's just like, no, nobody can tell me that I have not been in this position or this space or this time before. Deja vu literally is a sign of leveling down, in the sense that you've seen the character traits, the personality traits of the person before. It's as if you're dating or you're dealing with somebody in friendship or any other type of relationship, and you've seen the behaviors before. Now, seeing the behaviors is not necessarily all bad, depending on what you're looking for when it comes to the particular relationship. However, if you've been in enough relationships to know what you want out of a relationship and what you don't want, if you're a person of a particular age and you have relative life experience, then you know that what that deja vu I'm speaking of is basically that you're seeing traits of somebody that you didn't choose to continue a relationship with. Somebody where the relationship ended bad and you learned a lesson from that. So you ask yourself, why is it showing up again? Because I know I did. And it's because it's maybe God, the universe's way of saying that you still haven't learned that lesson. You know, that's a possibility. And so when you have that deja vu experience again, it's almost as if you're seeing the person. It's the same kind of energy and vibe as maybe the last relationship, or, you know, a relationship in the past, but a different body that it's encased in. And so there's blatant signs. These are not things that are just like you can brush it under the rug and conveniently forget about it. I'm talking about things that are blatantly obvious. Like, you're like, Dad, you know, Billy really acts like Bobby because, you know, Billy might be Bobby. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I laugh because, you know, looking back, you know, we've all been there where we've just like scratching our heads like, you know, it's repeated. It's repeated behaviors. It's just like a pattern. You know, another thing that I speak on, it's a pattern. And so you can't deny it. You have to acknowledge it as like, not necessarily, it doesn't always have to be a red flag, but it could be a subtle whisper that's letting you know that, are we going to go down this road again? Do we need to repeat this lesson again? Have we not learned from the past? Okay, so that's the first one. And I hope you get my explanations. And I can always elaborate on another video some other time. The second one I'm going to cover is, this is kind of like more straightforward and practical. Your core values don't align, you know? And this is the reason why a lot of the times, and I'm not judging, people say that people of two different cultures or religions shouldn't get together. And it's because On a basic level, that's just basically explaining that people that don't have the same core values, that literally probably don't just want the same things. They don't want the same things. They don't have the same goals. They don't have those similarities at the core level, which is where it's important to have them. You know, one of the biggest and most popular examples of that is people who call themselves being in a committed relationship, yet the woman doesn't want kids and the man wants kids. I mean, it's kind of a non-negotiable. It's like a deal breaker. So yeah, like core values do not align, you know. And once you go through enough experiences, you know what your core values are. You know what you don't want and what you want, and so you have an idea, you know. And so if they don't match, then it might not be worth your time, energy, and effort to continue. You might want to continue, but in another way, maybe as friends or from a distance or by association, or just, you know, you got to know each other enough so that you know that maybe you're not the match that you thought you were. And that's still okay. It doesn't have to mean that the person has to become your enemy or they're not a bad person. It just means that in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not on the surface and in your face, you've leveled down. And you haven't leveled down in the sense that the other person is necessarily a bad person. Sorry. They're not a bad person. It just means it's not a match. And not being a match is not the end of the world. It's just not a match. And that's okay. You know, so I think that's it for that one. The third and final one that I'll cover in this video is you feel drained. And I know that sounds so silly. But can you imagine like giving your time, energy, and effort to a relationship, a friendship, a romantic relationship, a business partnership? You're giving your time, energy, and effort. And then after a certain amount of time passes by, you realize it's not really balancing out. You know, my mother always said, when she was alive, she always said that life is give and take, or partnership or relationships are give and take, you know. And to me, when I hear give and take, it denotes this idea of balance to the best of our abilities, because we're human, we're not perfect, we're not always going to be balanced. It's just not possible to always be balanced 100% of the time. Sometimes in a relationship, somebody will take up more of the slack, you know, and the hope is that it's returned and reciprocated when the other person needs help. But at the end of the day, drained. And I'm not just talking about 5 minutes of being drained. I'm talking about you really gave it a concerted effort. You waited a considerable amount of time, and at the end of the day you feel drained. And this can manifest as physical drain, but before it even hits that point, I'm talking spiritually drained, I'm talking emotionally drained, I'm talking mentally drained, and physically drained. And and all the time, you can't always pinpoint what it is all the time. And I think that resides in a little bit of denial. I'm not a doctor by any means, but although I could have become one, but that's another conversation. But just being drained, you feel taxed all the time. Things are not balanced. It's not equal give and take. The other person is taking. You're giving, and then you're spent. You're just tired. You're realizing that your involvement in the relationship is not being reciprocated at all. And you're just tired. It's nothing personal. You may be even naturally the person that's more inclined to give. And that's kind of like what makes it worse at the end of the day. But that's who you naturally are, and you shouldn't change. You just need to find someone that matches that. I've had to do that. You know, I've had to do that so many times because I am the person that's more inclined to give. But then it gets to the point where you have to preserve yourself. You have to serve yourself. You have to fill your cup up so that you can be able to pour into a more healthy and balanced relationship where the other person is willing to make the effort to balance it out. That is more loving, healthy, and ideal in my opinion. You know, and I could take this drain to the point of reverting back. I guess that's a little like bonus one, you know, reverting back. Like you feel like this takes the deja vu to another level. Like you feel like you're moving backwards. Like all the energy and time and purpose that you felt in the origins of the relationship, it's undone by the time you can look up. You're like, where did all my efforts go? I am worse off than I was when I entered this. What was it? Was it worth it? You know, these are signs that you've leveled down somehow. You know, these are signs that you've leveled down. You know, because ideally we want to get into better relationships. We want to become better people. This is not always about the other person. This is about our looking inward to ourselves, obviously. But if we're able to re-enter a relationship and we see these signs, then it's an indication that on some level we still have work to do on ourselves, because we're still attracting and participating in relationships that are not really serving us, and are not balanced, and are not meeting what we want, and not meeting our basic conditions, you know. So that's what I have to say. Deja vu, mismatching core values, feeling drained, and reverting back. That is what I have to say about signs that you've leveled down instead of leveling up. I really hope that this has like shed some light on maybe what your current circumstance or even your past circumstance. That way you can evolve out of it. That is all I have to say on these topics right now. I'll obviously continue to expound on these topics. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. So I need you to, if you have any commentary or feedback, drop some comments for me. All my information is in the description below. Feel free to email me, send me feedback about topics of interest you want me to talk about. I'm open to that, and I'll pick and choose accordingly. And if you didn't do it before this video, please subscribe, put on your post notifications, and get back at your girl, because I'll have another video for you shortly. So thanks for listening to me, and see you on the next one.